All right. Well, this was not a video that I wanted to make. This video is not for kids. So let me just start off the bat. I have a lot of stuff I want to say. This is not for children. If you're a young person, click off this video. I would say 18 and under. You probably shouldn't watch this video. I would say this is 18 plus. We're going to be covering a documentary, a 3-part documentary made by BBC Africa about TB Joshua. Again, not for kids. If you don't know who TB Joshua was, his name was actually Temitope Balogun Joshua. He was born January 12th, 1963, and he died January 5th, 2021. He was a Nigerian pastor and a televangelist who was the leader and founder of the Synagogue Church for All Nations, which was a Christian megachurch, well, still is, they're still running, that runs the Emmanuel TV television station from Lagos, Nigeria. So this was a very well-known, very famous pastor, millions and millions of subscribers. I don't know if his channel's still up. I know he got banned several times. Recently, within the last week, BBC Africa put out a documentary they were working on for years about him, where 30 plus people that spent a decade plus with him testified to atrocities of torture, of rape, of pedophilia, psychological torment. Literally over 100 people died in a building project that he was irresponsible in, and just stuff that's just gross and grotesque. When I watched this 3-part series, I was sick to my stomach the entire time. I thought maybe I would do a video, a synopsis of it. I thought maybe I'll do 3 videos, and I decided, sitting down, going over all the notes. I took several pages of notes while I was watching it, that I was going to do it all in one video. I don't want this to become a 3-part thing or be on my channel for several days. I want to get this over with. I want to make the video and move on. I'm very disturbed by what I saw. I was sick to my stomach by what I saw. And I want to start by saying, I don't care who filmed the documentaries. People say, well, it was the BBC. You can't listen to secular media. I'm not listening to secular media. I'm looking at the witnesses that are in this documentary that went through torture, rape, abortion, and many other things at the hands of TB Joshua. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm not focused on who's making it, whether it was Fox News, CNN, BBC, Vice News, Disney Channel. I don't care. I care about truth. And when you hear these people's stories, I 100% believe the stories of these people's tell. And these stories would hold up in court. These eyewitness accounts would hold up in court. So let's not throw out, well, the BBC's this, the BBC's that. To me, whoever's defending this guy is delusional, is under the same demonic deception. And some of the people publicly right now defending him, they practice the same stuff he practices. They run their churches and ministries like cults, not like the body of Christ. And they do a lot of the abusive techniques he did, a lot of the humiliation he did. So that's where I'm at with it. It's completely disturbing. In my opinion, I've watched all the cult documentaries from Jim Jones to the next guy. This guy was one of the worst in the last 100 years that I've seen. Again, child abuse, rape, torture, abortion, and countless other types of abuse. And some of you might say, well, why come out with this? Well, now that he's dead, 2 days after they finished filming this documentary, he passed away. And these allegations had gone on for decades. People had been saying things, talking about this. They've just been shut up by media, shut up by other people. So these are not new accusations. People have been talking about these things for years. No one took it serious until the BBC did a well-documented documentary about him. And I'll have that 3-part series down below. Of course, I won't be covering it the whole thing. I'll be going through clips and talking about my stance on it and what I believe as we go through this thing. Again, it's despicable that anyone would defend him. If you're a lover of truth, the Bible, or Jesus, the fact that you can defend a cult leader like this is despicable to me. I know personal people that were there, that have been there, that stayed with him, and some of them testified that, yes, many of these things in this documentary are true. And I won't mention any names, and you don't need to try to guess. Several different people that knew him personally have said, yeah, a lot of the stuff that happens in this documentary is true and is right. But again, I want to viewer discretion is advised. It makes me sick even going through some of this stuff. If you get triggered easily with some of these topics, this is not the documentary for you, but I do believe we should expose this type of corruption. I talked to a good friend of mine and asked him what I should do. Actually, several good friends, and all of them said, blow the whistle on this, expose this. The documentary already has. I just want to bring light to how this deception starts and how there are some leaders, even right now in the body of Christ, that are operating like this, that must be marked and avoided. If you say, like, you're just being a heresy hunter for views, not being arrogant, I don't need the views, okay? I have 150, 60 plus million views on my channel, and I've never done videos exposing people, heresy hunter videos. I have 1,800 videos of Bible teaching and going through the Bible. I don't need views. I don't need to expose people. But this is absolutely wrong. This man was not a man of God. He was not a pastor. He was a cult leader that was abusive. And when you have all of these people saying the same story, how they were raped by him, same story by this sexually abused, do you think they all just came and decided to make this up? Like, what is the game? This is a free documentary on YouTube. They didn't even sell this documentary. It's free to watch. There's no money to be made in making a documentary like this. I guarantee they lost money making this documentary. So for those of you that are sympathetic towards him, watch these 3 hours and the whole 3 hours and then come back and say what he did wasn't wrong. And again, people that are defending him, I don't even want to go into it because I have no words for it. It's absolutely despicable. Again, zero desire to do this for views. I could get more views making something on a different topic and spending way less time than taking all these notes and spending 3 hours watching this documentary. Man, this is just crazy. And I also want to say, for those of you that don't know me, I love Deliverance. I love miracles. I have a deliverance map with over 3,000 people I oversee. I've been seeing demons cast out for 13 years, miracles. I love the supernatural power of God. This is not about miracles, deliverance, or the power of God. This is about a con man who abused hundreds of people, who got away with unspeakable acts of crime and should have been in prison for the rest of his life, but passed away in 2021, I believe from a heart attack after a church service. And I'll give you my take on the end about that. So here we go. I hate what this man did to so many people. It breaks my heart. It disgusts me. I'm a lover of truth, a lover of justice, and a lover of righteousness. I will give you guys a lot of the points I have written down, but I'm just going to go through clip by clip and give you guys my take. We'll watch it together. I'll pause it and stop for copyright reasons and just give you my thoughts on this. We're going to start about 25 minutes in. This kind of tells the history of his ministry and how he got started, and we're not going to watch the whole thing, but this is kind of where his right-hand man starts talking about how they were recruiting people, these disciples, which eventually would end up getting raped, tortured, and abused by TB Joshua, literally brainwashed, cut off from their family. But this is the start of how they recruited these people. Let's start watching this.
On the way to Calvary,
You wait for me, Jesus, wait for
The whites, they didn't come to become disciples.
Now, this is TB Joshua, and I'll leave the time down here so you guys can see where at in the video I'm watching. This is TB Joshua's right-hand man for over a decade that ran so much of his ministry talking right now.
It's when they got to the synagogue church, that's when the manipulation starts.
We count ourselves so lucky to have found this little place of miracles, of wonder, in the middle of nowhere.
Some intelligent disciples are being sent to stalk on the whites. It's not everybody that we approach. We look at you when we see the way you fall into what is happening in the synagogue church.
So they're recruiting people to be a part of their disciples, their inner group in the church, which would be the ones ultimately abused, raped, tortured, abortions happening in the church you're going to see later. But these were how, this is his right-hand man, and then his right-hand woman is also exposing this documentary, talking about how they're recruiting people to be in their inner circle.
We'll come after you.
I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, this is incredible. I feel like I'm sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane under the olive trees with Jesus.
they don't know we are picking them.
This is his right-hand lady for 14 years, I believe.
But myself and TB Joshua, we know what we were doing. He loves young ones, right? He loves young ones.
And this is very typical of cult leaders. If you've studied cult leaders, this is very typical to find young, impressionable people that are easy to brainwash.
Teenagers.
We don't go for the old people. The young ones, they are very vulnerable. And they are the easy people to manipulate, especially unmarried people.
Oh, it just makes me sick.
Especially unmarried young people.
I was 17 years old. I got my A-level results while I was in Nigeria, but I couldn't care less about them. I wanted to be like Jesus. I wanted to be like TB Joshua.
I wish I could have that connection with God. I wanted to be like him.
He
And it's
said,
so sad that these people are coming, wanting God, desperate for God, seeing God in TB Joshua, what they thought was really a false spirit. And they're impressionable.
tell
He's taking
them
advantage of that.
they should be missionary for the synagogue. You stay here 3 months, you become like TB Joshua.
And like any cult leaders, you're going to find in this 3-hour documentary, this is all about TB Joshua. This is not about becoming like God. This is not about Jesus. This is about becoming like TB Joshua, who they called Daddy, who was the leader of this entire cult.
Let me tell you, he's going to open branches in UK, in America, and everywhere. He's not going to send us to go there. You are the best sender, you go there. Make them begin to crave to be disciples. Begin to surrender their lives. to Joshua.
When Rachel came, Rachel was behaving like a boy, walking like a boy. He said, that girl, why don't you ask her to stay here? And she was happy.
So this is talking about the recruiting process, okay? Let's go to the next clip here. Here's the next clip where we're going to talk about separating them from friends and family. This, guys, this is textbook cult. As I go through these clips, you're going to see this is textbook, the way that cults act and the way that cults function, like to the T.
We try to persuade them to willingly separate from their people, to willingly stop that constant communication with their homes.
You couldn't contact anyone outside.
So like cults, now you can't contact friends, family. You're completely cut off from the outside world to be vulnerable to brainwashing, abuse, psychological torment and torture. And all the things you're going to see in this long video I'm covering is dark.
I didn't have my own cell phone. We didn't really access to our own personal email. We didn't have our passports.
And if you guys think all these people are telling the same story lying, you are delusional.
Held them for us.
Say my past is over. Your past is over now.
Every relationship you have in this world, you have to cut them off. He makes sure you do that. You have no other family. Your family is TB Joshua.
Jesus used to say to his disciples, leave your father and mother and join me. That's what we had all done. We had left our families.
I suggest.
The problem is Jesus said to follow him. TB Joshua is telling them, leave everything to follow me. No friends, no family, cut everyone off to follow our ministry and be a part of what we're doing. That is cultish, very cult-like.
To any mums and dads out there who've got kids like mine, bring them to the Synagogue Church of All Nations and let the Lord move in them.
When I first arrived, it was only a couple of days that I started hearing disciples calling him Daddy.
We all called him Daddy. Everybody called him Daddy.
That's
He tried
so
to
weird.
look after us, and we would all call him Daddy. I thought it was a bit odd, but
And there's some guys you follow on YouTube and Facebook and social media that have you call them Daddy. That's just so bizarre to me.
to decide.
My wife calls another pastor or leader Daddy. Ugh, so gross.
I dismissed it. I can't really look back and say that my childhood was really happy. And he seemed to be really caring towards me and different. Like a really warm and friendly guy.
He had this office which had a cupboard in it, but I had a whole bunch of imported sweets. And he kind of used these as little treats for people, almost like we were kids.
So now they're all calling him Daddy. He's recruiting the right people. They're calling him Daddy. Let's go to this next clip here.
If he came into any room and you didn't stand up, that would be considered an offense.
We weren't allowed to read anything. We weren't allowed to watch movies.
He would say what you should wear, what you shouldn't.
There was a law in the studio. If you want to go and pee, you have to stop by his office.
If you want to go pee, you have to stop by his office and get permission. You're telling me that's not cult? That's not a cult leader? That's not someone that completely wants to dominate? Now, who do we know in the Bible that wants to dominate? Who do we know in the Bible that wants to control? Who do we know in the Bible that wants to manipulate? If you guess Satan, you're correct. God is not a dominator. He's not a manipulator. He's not a control freak. The devil is. And when you are empowered by Satan, this is how you become.
I promise to submit myself to all that you desire of me.
One of my jobs was writing articles for the church. He called me in and he said, "Where's the article? Have you not published it yet?" And I said, "Sorry, sir, I've not published it yet." And then he just slapped me. TB Joshua had a massive temper.
You'd see people coming and they would be like, "He's hot, hey, he's hot."
So now he's slapping and abusing them. And again, I'm skipping through just for the main clips here. He's slapping, he's abusing. And notice, we're going to talk about later, he also is slapping and abusing people that he ministers to. In part 3 of the documentary, it talks about how he loves to humiliate those that he ministered to. That's so dark, so demonic. that these are God's people that are coming for ministry and you're slapping and abusing them. And of course, now he's abusing and slapping his own disciples. So why wouldn't he do that to the people he's ministering to?
Daddy's hot. And you would
This
literally
just makes me sick to my stomach, y'all.
see everybody just scatter. If you didn't run, you'd get an almighty big slap around the face. And I witnessed that regularly. You didn't see it as physical abuse. We were told it's an honor to get slapped by me because I'm next to Jesus.
So demonic. It's an honor to be slapped by me because I'm next to Jesus. How sick is that and twisted?
He wants to control everybody.
And that is exactly what it is. It's all about control. He wants to dominate. He wants to control. This is what cult leaders do. It's his show, and you're going to do what he says. And again, there's some ministers right now that you guys follow that operate this way, and it's demonic, it's dark, and it's vile. We need to pray they repent.
Everything.
Our bathroom stalls had just like curtains on them. And if anyone thought you were doing anything, they could just, flip the curtain.
Will bug you. Even your record while you're taking your shower.
Again, these are people that were running his ministry talking, so they're not people that don't know him verifiably. They were his right-hand man and his right-hand woman, and they're talking about how people are being recorded in the showers.
It's there. Everything is there.
Now, I want to talk about the next clip, which is going to be how he sleep deprived them. So again, you're seeing all the signs of a cult leader here.
Sleep was seen as basically the greatest enemy.
The best way to brainwash and control somebody is deprive them of a physical necessity everybody's body needs. One of the most unhealthy things you can do is be sleep deprived.
The work of God. He used to tell us things like, you have to pray against it, you have to battle it.
And that is battling being tired, which is your body naturally needs to sleep to recover itself. And he's saying no, you need to battle against it and fight
You
it.
dare not sleep when Joshua have not ordered you to sleep. There's cameras everywhere. We will record you. We will keep it as evidence.
There was these pads of white, small, note paper called disciple paper, and that's what he used to give permission for things.
You'd have to go to the office, say, "Sir, I'm sorry, I really need to have a quick sleep." And he'd sign a pass for you, because if you didn't have a pass, you'd get reported for sleeping.
You needed a pass to go to sleep. You needed permission to use the restroom. You were cut off from friends and family. You were not allowed to have a watch, time, or a calendar, which they talk about here. Just complete control, domination. You're now just a shell of who you were before you came
That time
here.
when they see anybody sleeping, that person will be in trouble.
There would be times that I'd be falling asleep like this, and he would say, "Stand up." And you literally have to stand up, and then at times I would fall asleep while standing.
Somebody was so tired, he slept, opened his mouth. TB Joshua led 4 boys. They pee inside his mouth.
Now, that was his right-hand woman for, I believe, 14 years. You tell me why she would make that up. Some of these stories are so bizarre and twisted. There's no way you could even make something like that up. It's so twisted. Who makes that up? Who says this happened when it didn't happen? These are people that were with him for over a decade, testifying to what they saw in these living quarters as disciples of him. And it gets way worse. This is nothing compared to what is coming.
We weren't allowed to wear watches, so our time was controlled.
No watches.
We had to go by God's time, so I didn't know what day, month, year it was.
Crazy.
The time goes by so quickly because every day is so similar to the last. You wake up and it's like, oh, it's 2 years later, oh, it's 3 years later.
Before you know it, your brain doesn't think like it used to think.
His major thing is struggling to control the mind of the people. Indoctrination.
Typical cult leader. All right, let's go to the last clip of part 1. And I'm just giving you guys a synopsis for those of you that aren't going to spend 3 hours watching. I'm giving it to you in 20 minutes. Part 2 is probably the worst of all of them. And I don't even think I'll cover part 3 just because it just makes me sick going over it. And I just can't.
He had a grand plan. Not all disciples knew what was happening. It was a secret. He told me personally, when he remembered what these white people did to our forefathers, that it hurt him. That whatever it will take him, he said the whites, that he will bring them here. He will make sure that he will enslave them, that they will serve him.
I was there in that meeting. He wants to use white people to be his slaves.
Now, this was the lady that ran his stuff, and then that guy was the guy. These are the two that were his main people.
Westerners, they enslaved his forefathers. So he himself now, we enslave them. He said it loud and clear.
So there's a dark, sinister plan behind everything he's doing, and that is to enslave people, is what he did. He enslaved these young white ladies and eventually would end up sexually abusing them horrifically for years and years and years, including his own biological daughter, but just so dark.
One of the motivation factors in him is that that's, I will teach them lesson. I will show them.
Ugh.
TB Joshua wanted to write history for himself. He wanted them to serve him. He wanted to rule over them.
And my brother, he did it. A disciple of TB Joshua is a slave to TB Joshua.
I was a disciple of TB Joshua for 10 years, from 2001 to 2010.
I stayed in that place till 2013. So what's that, 12, 13 years?
So these are not people that were there for one day, made up some story. These are people that were with him for over a decade, that knew him personally and that were abused by him firsthand. So stop with this is just a BBC documentary. Friend, this is eyewitness accounts of absolute brainwashing and cult-like.
I was there, yeah.
I was 16 or maybe even 15 when I first visited. And then I stayed for 14 years.
For 14 years, 10, I think.
It was a psychological prison. We all thought we were in heaven, but we were in hell, and in hell, terrible things happen.
Our black disciples, they suffer so much. He beat you without mercy.
You thought you were in the safest place in the world, and you were in the most dangerous.
It is time for healing.
Meanwhile, preaching.
Either is Satan or is God. I am the supreme commander.
The whole thing is fake. Totally faked.
Yes.
No man can satisfy you.
It's true, man of God.
TB Joshua asked me to find virgins for him.
Set.
Each time they would say, Daddy's calling you. The bottom line is you'd have to go there.
I thought I will take what he did to me to the grave.
Just drive now. Go.
Lock the door,
Please.
More than 30 church members. Eyewitness accounts and evidence. So they deny it all. So that's part one. You guys can go watch that for yourself. I'll link it down below. Again, it's dark, it's vile, it's wrong, it's satanic, it's cult-like, but it gets much, much darker and worse in part two. Let me remind you guys, this is viewer discretion advised, not for kids. 18 and under, you got to go clean your room right now because this is just vile and dark. And this is happening in churches today. This is happening in leaders you guys follow. There's leaders you guys follow that stuff like this is going on behind the scenes, and it's just a matter of time before it gets exposed.
The whole compound revolved around TB Joshua.
He is second in command to God. We live in that kind of environment that everybody try to outdo one another to make him happy.
So again, if you notice throughout the theme of this, again, it's 3 hours. I'm not going to go I'm just giving you guys clips. This is all about one man. And I'm scared of ministries that run where it's all about one man, where it's all about one person. We should be empowering the body of Christ, not one person. So this is all about TB Joshua. This is all about doing what he wants you to do.
TB Joshua's room or apartment was right at the top at the end of the church building. He doesn't have his own house where he stays with his family. No.
His wife was on a completely different floor.
So his wife was on a different floor. He was at the very top, I believe the 5th floor by himself. And you might guess why he would be doing that. Why he'd be doing that? It's to abuse people, manipulate people, and eventually end up raping a lot of these girls countless times.
He lived there completely by himself. We used to refer to it as 5-story because it was the 5th floor.
It was a very lavish, presidential set of rooms.
Daddy, as we used to call him, he had young Nigerian boys that would run around for him up in his 5-story bedroom. You know, they'd get anything he wanted. They'd do his hair, they'd wash his underpants.
We were called 5-story brothers. That is, young guys like me that has the opportunity to serve the prophet. Just literally serve him just the way the maid serves kings.
So now we have these boys on the documentary. These boys are testifying. Again, well, this is just, they misconstrued it. You have all of these witnesses. How are you guys in such denial? How do you guys follow people that defend this trash? I would unfollow every person that defends this man. This man is a cult leader. He's satanic. He's vile. He's an abuser. He's a pedophile. How could you guys defend this? Some of these girls were under 18 at this time.
People compare his 5-story brothers to be his personal slave because everything he needs, you must be there. All is in my mind is, where is he now? Has he eaten? Has he taken his bath? Is his shower ready?
You have to be there in his privacy. If I can use the word, even to the nudity, you see everything.
When Tim Joshua needs to go to toilet.
Now, again, I want you guys to ask yourselves, are they just making this up? Who makes this stuff up?
Two of us has to be there in the toilet. He would remove his underwear to his knee level.
So sick.
Then we bring it down. We don't allow him to bend down.
They would pull his pants down when he used the restroom. How sick and sadistic do you have to be?
There was a lot of strange things behind closed doors.
His underwears, you know he wears white. Most times he pours this honey.
Just twisted.
He will pour it inside his pants. Inside his underwear, he will pour it there. When he pours those honey there, he wears the underwear.
And I was like, what's the significance of this?
Why is he doing this?
So he's pouring underwear in his, he's pouring honey in his underwear. It's just demonic. That's what it is. It's demonic. So now we're going to go into talking about Prayer Mountain, which was a place a lot of bad stuff happened.
Prayer Mountain is a place full of water.
And guys, I want to know what you think in the comments. Don't spam BBC documentary, fake news, bro. Tell me you watched 3 hours, and then what is your conclusion? Your conclusion's either this was a man of God, and all of these people are making up abuse they went through, and you have no sympathy for them, and you could care less about justice, you can care less about truth, or your conclusion is this man was of the devil, and what these people are saying is true. So you either think all of these people, 30 plus people that spent a decade with him, verified, are making all this up, or this was a true man of God. It can't be both. He's either of God or of Satan. And I don't see how you can watch this, hear their stories, how genuine they are, especially when he gets to the dark stuff later, and think this is okay.
That TB Joshua dreads.
He has different islands on the lake there. And each of them has different prayer huts, prayer houses, small huts. I don't think there's any week that he doesn't go there. That's where he stays. He stays and does most of his work.
You know, the Bible says in Matthew 7, not everyone who says, Lord, 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 will enter the kingdom of heaven. Some will have cast out demons. Some will have prophesied. Some will have done all these things, and the Lord will say, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. How do you think a guy like this walks in the gates of heaven after all the atrocities he did to God's people?
People think the prayer mountain is where to go and pray, but there is more to that. There is more to that. The 16 years I spent there.
No, now we have a guy 16 years. Is that not credible for you guys? 16 years he's been there? What does he have to say?
We are the prayer warrior, which is the powerhouse of the ministry. I happen to be the leader.
Here's a leader of the prayer group.
If we give you different assignments, There was one day, TB Joshua came to the mountain. They caught one fish alive, very big. So in my present, TB Joshua caught his beard, cut part of the hair in his private part. He poured those things in the mouth of that fish.
So sick.
See, we should take it back to the river and drop it.
This is straight witchcraft. Cut his hair and his pubes and put them in the mouth of a fish and then put it back in the river. Witchcraft.
That was how they start multiplying. When they lay egg, they lay thousands of eggs. It's secretive. If we are talking about spiritual power,
yep, spiritual.
either it's Satan or it's God.
Either it's Satan or it's God. It's just nasty. All right, let's go to the next clip. I can't, man. This stuff just makes my stomach hurt. How do you guys watch this and think? Now, this is going to talk about how he starts basically calling these girls lustful and whores and sluts and telling them over and over again they're dealing with lust, which you're going to find out why he's doing this later.
Every woman had lust. Every female was struggling from the spirit of lust.
So he's brainwashing to be like, you have lust, you're sexual, you're deviant, this is who you are. He's setting them up for something.
Spirit of immorality.
All textbook cult leader stuff. All textbook cult leader stuff.
He created narratives about all of us. Oh, you know, this one's come, they've got a problem with men. Promiscuous.
He would tell me, look at the way you are looking. You are not even concentrating. You are not doing this. It's a spirit of lust. You want to masturbate every time you are alone.
He's telling her this. He's brainwashing her to believe this.
And I want to help you. I can help you.
There is a lady there, you are a prostitute. It has become a professional job for you. Prostitute.
You notice all these false prophets that prophesy like this, they're always obsessed with lust and sexual things. Ugh, makes my skin crawl.
He got me to
Expose it,
write
Lord.
down that I am a prostitute from Namibia 400 times.
That's so
And
crazy.
then I signed on camera that it is me, Jessica, signing. I'm a prostitute from Namibia 400 times.
This urge.
Yes.
He makes her sign, I'm a prostitute. Makes herself believe that's what she is, so that later he can do the sexual things he wants to do to her, and she believes that's who she is.
One can satisfy you.
It's true, man of God.
Huh?
It's true, man of God.
The repetition, lust in the morning, afternoon, evening, you are sleeping because lust, anything you do lust. I started believing that maybe,
Yep.
maybe I have it. I was a virgin, so I didn't understand what this lust thing was all about.
This is a virgin that he's telling you need to write you're a prostitute over and over again. Sick. Sick. I don't want to keep taking shots at those of you that defend him, but ugh, sickening.
We had this weird culture of we had to phone him before we went to bed, and there were phones all over the church, and it was considered really rude not to call.
It was a ritualistic thing, like morning prayers or evening prayers. Good night, Daddy, good night, sir. You had to do it.
You'd phone his bedroom on the intercom, and it would ring and ring and ring and ring and ring.
It's just sick. Total control.
I'd be like, hello,
Complete control.
Daddy, it's Rachel. Good night, sir. He'd be like, okay, good night. And he'd just put the phone down, like, just like no interest. My friends used to like call them, and they used to go up to his room with their Bible and their notebook. They'd go up and they'd come down, they'd go up, they'd come down, and I often used to think to myself, why doesn't he call me? I need to try harder.
There is no way you will know who TB Joshua is if you don't live with him.
Now, this is a man that was one of the fifth story boys, who lived with TB Joshua. He was the one pulling down his pants when he used the restroom, watching honey in his pants, and doing all these sick and twisted things.
We happened to sleep in his bathroom. We had to sleep on the floor.
They're sleeping
A
on
little
a
space
tile.
there where we have his.
This just makes me so sick, man. Just makes me so mad that someone can do this to other human
Towels
beings.
being hanged. That's where we lie on the floor, on bare tiles.
At a particular time in the middle of the night, he just asked us to go to our room to go sleep.
He would put us in the room next door. He would lock the door. Next thing we hear from inside the room is he turns on the TV set aloud. Very, very loud.
It's crazy. Putting on the TV loud. Again, why do you think?
I was curious. Why? Why is Daddy locking us outside? I was curious. So I had to peep under this door.
When I peeped under the door, I saw a certain lady's foot there.
She knelt down close to the long chair. Then I realized that something was happening there. Some activities was going on. It's as if something sexual was happening here. I knew that the wife was not around.
Now remember, his wife's not in the same room as him. His wife is sleeping in a different room. He has his own room. These are his slave boys, his servants, in their own words, that are doing everything for him. And now he locks him in the bathroom to sleep on tile floor while he's in there molesting, raping, and sexualizing underage girls.
His wife doesn't have access to his room.
He made us believe that his wife is always sent to tempt him.
A lot of thoughts were going through my mind. It was like Dad is trying to cover up something.
Again, I want to warn you guys before we watch this scene. This is graphic. If you've been molested, raped, or gone through sexual abuse, this is triggering. So I do want to give you a warning that this might not be something you want to watch. You might want to skip this part. Again, I don't know how you can watch, 37 minutes in. I'm trying to give a synopsis of a 3-hour documentary. I don't know how you can watch this and still defend this guy. He's just absolute cult leader.
Climbing on my bunk bed, exhausted, absolutely exhausted. And you'd get a tap, Daddy's calling you, Daddy's calling you. Oh, I want you to come up. I want you to come and see me.
Oh, this makes my stomach turn, man.
One night they phoned and he was like, you know, you did so well today. And he said, okay, come up, bring your Bible, and let us look at your Bible notes.
How sick, how demonized, how satanic, vile, nefarious do you have to be to say, bring your Bible notes up, let's look at them before you rape someone, before you molest someone, before you take advantage of someone? I don't understand it. How dark you have to be to do that.
This is like early hours of the morning, 3, 4, 5. You were so knackered.
Sick.
This is on 2 hours of sleep from the night.
They're not sleeping. They have no contact with the outside world. They have no clocks, no watches, no calendars. And they're literally zombies at this point.
The room was like a sanctuary. The carpet was so soft, really thick carpet. It was luxurious, like big bellowing curtains.
He'd got his shirt like off and his shorts on, sitting down on his chaise longue. He said, okay, can I read some of my notes?
Shameful.
Beckon me over and I would kneel beside the chaise lounge.
I want you to notice they all have the same stories. They're all of these women in here are telling the same stories.
He was like, how am I and how's things? And you know, he loves me very much and how God's gonna super use me.
You're so good at preaching. Don't ever leave me. Don't ever leave me. No, Daddy. No, I won't.
He told the lads that were in his bathroom that they should sleep. He stood up and he locked the doors and he switched the lights down.
Disgusting, man.
He said to me, can you take your pajama bottoms off? And I just was like a robot. I just was like, oh, yes, sir. And like a parrot, like exactly what I did for every other instruction that he'd given me. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Like.
And now this is the reason why He did all the brainwashing, all the domination, all the control. It's to lead up to how do you sexualize, how do you get a woman to do what you wanted to do sexually, is you've controlled her, you've dominated her, you've made her nobody, you've brainwashed her. Now she's going to do what you want her to do.
Like a freaking robot.
Demonic,
you know?
dude. Demonic.
Yes, sir. I've come
Makes me sick.
the pajama pants.
He would come towards me and then he'd wrap his leg around the back of my legs and lower me like a plank onto the carpet.
He lowered me like on my back to the floor.
And he's doing this to all these girls. They all have the same story of the way that he's sexualizing them.
He started sticking his tongue like in my ear. It was this ear first, and then he went into that ear, and I remember lying there like a piece of wood and thinking, what the hell is he doing? It's disgusting. Like, it's disgusting. What? Like, and I totally froze. I just panicked. Like, I went into complete panic. He was grinding and sticking his fingers in, his tongue in my ear.
It's hard to listen to.
And I'm lying there. And then, like, within 5 minutes, he's basically done his business and, like, masturbated on me, basically. Gets up and says to me, okay, you can go.
Sick. That's hard to watch and listen to. It's sick. And I'm telling you right now, leaders in the body of Christ are doing this right now. Lord, expose them. Lord, expose them,
17
please.
years old. I didn't realize what was happening to me.
17 years old. 17 years old. And he's doing this. She's literally a kid. Straight
I was a good little
pedophile.
Christian girl. I didn't know what it was.
Oh.
It became so robotic. I disconnected from my body. I just became like a puppet.
And yet some of you all think these girls are lying. And I don't have nothing to say to you. It just makes me furious that we have Christian leaders defending him. You have no discernment and you're operating under the same demonic spirit.
Going up to his room in the middle of the night, I always saw young girls coming down the stairs. My mind would sometimes go, oh, I wonder if they're having the type of time I'm having with him.
More victims here, more witnesses.
At first
all to some of you, all making it up. To me, I believe everything they're saying.
It was like,
it all
remove
fits
your
in
top.
the cult-like narrative.
And I would be uncomfortable with it. And if I didn't do what he wanted, then he would threaten me. To the point where eventually he would assault me and then blame me afterwards and say, you did this, look at what you've done to me, look what you've done.
Each embarrassment you receive, each insult you receive, each persecution you receive will draw you.
I can care less what you're preaching. If you're living like that, I can care less what. You can preach the Bible, memorize the whole Bible, and still go to hell.
Closer to Jesus.
We won't even go into how incredibly rich this guy was. Tens of millions of dollars.
The first time that he made any sexual move on me, he touched my breast and he was hugging me and breathing heavily. I went to one of the disciples. Does he touch you inappropriately? She jumped and said, no. He's my father. Even if he touches me, even if he hugs me, I know that he is my father. You would confide in
Even if he hugs me or touches me, I know he's my father. This is the whole narrative of calling him daddy.
someone before you know it. Meeting, meeting, meeting.
Once you hear bell for meeting, everybody starts shaking. Who knows what is going to happen now?
When we have the disciple meetings at night for reporting, you would just see people running. So when you see people
that
running, when you
fear,
see
that
disciples
cult leader
running, you
fear.
just run and you follow where they're running to. You would just run.
Discipleship meetings, they filled me with a sense of doom. He'd start the meeting and say, okay, who has a report?
I was just opening the door, and Brother Agama was standing there with this one woman, and I phoned the man of God.
So they're all basically saying the bad things they've done. They're over here confessing, and I'm so sorry.
Brother Agama and this woman in a very dark place, so I was very surprised.
We were obligated to go and report and tell TB Joshua every single thing.
If you did the wrong thing, there was punishment. And that was served in different forms.
This sister reported me and said, oh, Jessica called me and told me that you touched her inappropriately. He stood up from his chair. Do I do that to you? Can I do that? A man of God? And she said, no, sir. She's lying. She's just lustful. He hit me. He slapped me. He punched me. He kicked me in the stomach.
All disciples go through this. Even the most powerful people have to be brought down because he is at the very top all the time.
If there's a plan for you, when you come to that meeting, you won't be able to defend yourself. Shut up! Bye! Keep quiet! What do you want to say? Do you want to argue with Papa? Do you want to argue with Daddy?
Sexual abuse, physical abuse.
Please help me.
Guys, this is a 3-hour documentary. I'm just touching on it here. And I know I'm like almost an hour in. Just sick.
What are the things you used to do?
I'm so
Literally, I feel like sick, like I'm gonna throw up watching this. It's just disgusting.
I need forgiveness, please, everybody, please. You all know me.
This man is an animal, man. Seriously, an animal.
I've been laid flat on the floor. My skirt was lifted up and I was just naked. He hit me with that horsewhip.
He'll actually lie down on the floor. He will use it. Everywhere blood. He beat you without mercy.
Sad.
Many a times I have been punished with beatings. You are at his mercy. You are at his mercy.
I remember her being in a state of emotional turmoil. No one is ever in that top position the whole time. That's the cycle. You're built up and broken down.
Look, don't show any sympathy.
This really right here is where I get just so frustrated as a minister and as a pastor. This part just makes me so mad where it talks about how he loved to humiliate people. This was something he enjoyed doing.
This boy.
TB Joshua liked to humiliate people. He humiliates people.
I think we both know some people that do this when they minister. Kicking, tripping, slapping, punching, and they defend themselves saying God told them to. No, the devil told you to. Let's be honest. God is not telling you to trip people, kick people, and humiliate people. This whole humiliating people you minister to, it's so dark. It's so demonic and dark.
One
so
day,
gross.
I called him. I said, Daddy, why are you so angry like this? He laughed. He said, I know what I'm doing. It will put fear in the disciples.
He was really violent.
Wow.
We didn't speak about these things.
You're smacking the guy.
There was no safe place. There was no friend. There was nobody you could go to and say, oh my God, this happened. I saw this. You'd be terrified. He made everybody your enemy and you everybody else's enemy.
All right, let me skip to the next clip. I went long on that one. This one might be, yeah, that one's even before. Okay, man, it's just dark.
It was very difficult to watch this man preach every Sunday.
Now, this is his biological daughter. This to me is probably some of the most incriminating evidence there is on him. And if you're not convinced yet, you think all those people are making up, this is a man of God, you have blinders on. This is his biological daughter talking about how hard it was to listen to him preach because she knew who he really was.
Sunday. Topics about love and about mercy, they felt very strange coming from his lips. I stared myself in the mirror a lot of the times, and maybe I do look like him, maybe. For as long as I can remember, I have been raised as TB Joshua's daughter.
I knew the child, Ajoke, right from birth.
She's his actual daughter, his biological daughter, with another woman outside of wedlock.
He doesn't seem to like her very much. She was like kind of labeled the black sheep of the family.
I was in primary school. I was made to move to the disciples' room. I didn't volunteer to be a disciple. I was made to join.
So he's just forced now to be a part of this inner circle.
Ajoke grew inside the synagogue like an outcast.
I think he wanted to keep her a secret. I don't think he wanted anyone to know who she was. The message about Ajoke was that she had terrible evil spirits that needed to be driven out.
And she was with another, not his wife, this was from another woman he got
There was
pregnant.
a time in the disciples' meetings, he said that people could beat her. Anyone in the female dormitory could just hit her. And I saw people just...
This is his biological daughter. I mean, I'm kid you not, my stomach's turning right now. I'm just so mad about this. This is his biological daughter that he tells all the other disciples, you can hit her, you can torture her, and they do torture her. Just so
walking in,
dark.
just slapping her
Ugh.
as they walked past.
Ajoke, little thing, you see somebody slap her.
There was a particular time that
This man is sick, vile, satanic, just demon. He's a demon. TB Joshua, doing this, allowing someone to torture your kids. I have 4 daughters. Oh, man. Just so demonic.
I was very tired. I had slept a little bit too much.
So he started like shouting at her to get up, to get up, to get up. And there was another like disciple there who basically took her and took her to the shower and whipped her with an electrical cord and then turned the hot water on.
Oh, it's hard to watch.
Put my head right on the hot water. I was screaming at the top of my voice, and I just let the water run on my head for a very long time.
So demonic. Whipping her with an electrical cord and then burning her with hot water.
We're talking about years and years of abuse, consistent abuse, abuse that wasn't ending.
He hated her, and he punished her for being born. Her existence was probably the biggest threat to his reputation.
I couldn't even have an identity. That kind of pain cannot be put into words. I feel like, you know what, maybe I really don't deserve to be alive.
What's her fault? What has that girl done? It pains me. She was still very young that time. Can you imagine how heartless we were?
Things like that, it's scary to talk about. It's really shameful.
Shameful.
Like that, I witnessed that and I didn't do anything
Shameful.
to help her.
Oh my goodness. She must, I don't know what she thought about the rest of us.
Shameful, man.
The disciples were both brainwashed and enablers. Everybody was just acting based on commands like zombies. Nobody was questioning anything. They were beyond fanatics. Where does your conscience come? How far can your conscience go?
It's just demonic. Yeah, it's making me sick. Okay, let's go to the next clip here.
There was a time when TB Joshua called me into his office and
More
asked
trigger
me, do you
warning
think
here.
I'm a monster?
Yeah, you are a monster, TB Joshua. I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts at the end of this whole thing, but yeah, I'm already almost an hour in. It's just I'm not covering part 3 in this video. I just can't. I can't keep going. Part 3, 100 plus people died in a building collapse. He didn't care about the bodies. He laughed about it. He's wicked. He's wicked. I don't know how else do you want me to say it? They're all making this up. This is all fake. Everybody's making it up. He's the man of God. They're all slandering. They want to bring him down. What benefit is anybody gaining in this?
What
Some of you are delusional. You need to open up your
TB
eyes.
Joshua said to me about what he was doing to me was that he could see into my future, that I was going to lead a life of promiscuity, and that he had to do what he was doing for my salvation.
Insane.
He was telling me that, you know, I'm your father and I'm delivering you. We went into his room and I stood there and he said, off your clothes. So I removed my clothes, and then he just pointed. So I lied down, and then he raped me. He broke my virginity. I was screaming, and he was whispering in my ear that you should stop acting like a baby. Better shut up. You want to make noise? You want people to hear? I felt like there was a beast, like this beast. I was 17 years old. I was
17.
underage.
When he come back from the service, he kept forcing himself on me. He assured me God was not upset. The more I made him happy, God will be happy with.
That's the same thing Ravi Zacharias was telling his victims that he was molesting and doing other things too. He was saying, God will be happy with you. I'm very stressed. This helps relieve my stress. It's just sick.
It's me. He grabbed me and he held me very close to him, and he literally then pushed me down to the bed and he got on me.
I was still so shocked. I was still bleeding. He spit on the floor, and he held my hands and he looked straight into my eyes and said, I can see you are my child now.
So
Don't
sick.
betray me.
So sick.
You were absolutely trapped because you were there.
So they're all getting raped by him. Just, I don't know how else to say it. I don't know if the video's gonna get flagged or what, but.
Okay.
He was a sexual predator. He was a ritualist.
He was a ritualist, his assistant says, 14 years.
TB Joshua asked me to find virgins for him, to bring young girls into disciple fold.
If this doesn't make you sick and make you be like, this guy is demonic, then something's seriously wrong with you.
In the midnight, this person will be called into his bedroom so that he could disvirgin them. When those girls come out, he usually take all the bed sheets and everything, he pack them and take them to the prayer mountain.
It's very important for me to speak to the world. I am using it as a platform of confession.
Now, this is the guy that was running his prayer mountain and his prayer thing. This gets very dark. This guy's saying, I'm using this interview and documentary as a confession because he's obviously been harboring all this. And again, we're not doing part 3. We're already an hour in and my stomach's turning. I can't cover part 3 of this guy. It's just sick.
What I was doing then was against God.
I remember one day, TB Joshua, he called for me. He allowed me on the boat. We went so far. There was a prayer hut I had never.
TB Joshua is 1,000% invoking demonic powers. 1,000%.
Seen before.
So in that room, it's our duty to make sure that we own a certain incense there. If
So
it's
burning
going
incense, which by the way attract demons if you didn't know.
to enter there, that place must be filled with smoke.
We do normally have our meetings in the night. He trusts me with the assignment he's giving me.
It's just candles everywhere, pictures.
All the disciples' pictures, we pour it on the floor. His own picture is not there. His wife picture is not there. It's only the disciples.
He will wear a red garment, plain red. The garment is long down to his ankle. And he will hold a sword in his hand. Those pictures, he will place the sword directly on the face. It will be pierced through and it will be pinned down there.
They are in bondage, spiritually and physically. This is what you have done to people.
Crazy. Demonic.
Ilé ayé
rituals.
gbóná mọ́ wọn.
He's literally doing satanic voodoo rituals on them. Like 100%. And I don't know if they already said it, but he was bringing the rags. He would basically, you know, take people's virginity, get the blood, and then put it on rags and bring it to this room, which is, oh.
You just move around this prayer room, and you move in an anti-clockwise way.
Holding this sword, going around, oh Lord, forgive us, oh Lord, forgive us, oh Lord, forgive us. Have mercy on us, have mercy on us.
I've never seen this kind of thing before. Everything about his prayer room is photos. People's photo.
So weird.
And I can tell you, they are mostly ladies.
What he did was all intentional. He was doing all those sexual activities for something spiritual.
Yep.
Satan knows everything that people cannot know. TB Joshua is not any man of God.
This is his guy running his prayer mountain. Says TB Joshua is not any man of God.
It's man of evil.
I agree.
There was a system in there that he used to abuse these women.
So it's just dark. It's dark. Let me go to the last couple clips here. This is just, ugh.
We, the 5-story builders, are the ones covering him. These are children of 16, 17 years. He kept all of us in slavery. Total, absolute slavery.
Almost every day, TB Joshua have girls in his room.
If I'm going to count in a week, seeing these things like...
These are the men that worked in his bedroom.
4 to 5 times in a week.
Every week?
Yes, every week.
Rape became like a normal, terrifying thing that you would do. It's like you are an animal being slaughtered.
He would be calling girls in one after the other. I stayed there almost 14 years.
Wow.
They will be in thousands.
Watch your screen. Watch your screen. You are going to deliver a baby boy. In the mighty name of
This is graphic, by the way. So just so you guys know, again, more graphic stuff. This is where they're going to talk about the abortions that were happening inside the church and all the girls that he was making get abortions, which is just, yeah, if you're not sick yet, you will be. It's so gross.
We used to film women giving birth live. Somebody used to paint a picture that he loves children, but behind the closed doors, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
I had 3 abortions at a synagogue.
3 abortions. Killing of an innocent baby.
And from speaking to other women, I'm not the only one.
So wrong, man. Dark. Demonic.
Any of us got pregnant, he said, you cannot betray the man of God. We have to do something about it. Women that he rapes, he forces them into abortion. I never had a choice whether I could keep a potential child or not.
This man's an animal.
I felt like I didn't own my body.
You know it. You skip your first period, you skip your second period, and you have to talk. It would all done in secrecy. You'd be taken by one of these elder moms to this clinic of his.
I witnessed a lot of abortions. Lots of
Right-hand
abortions.
lady, 14 years, says a lot of abortions.
It can't be counted. They started doing it inside the synagogue.
Sick.
There's a place they call medical department.
This was no church. This was some satanic cult temple that they're doing abortions, sacrificing babies to Moloch inside the church.
We went out through the back door of his office. We went downstairs.
There's an area that visitors would never see. You're given a concoction to drink, you get sick, or They put these metal pieces in your vagina.
Graphic.
And they extract whatever, and you don't know whether they're pulling out your womb or something's going wrong.
She was squeezing my stomach and I had to push all those things. He was saying, out, out, out.
So the same way he's casting out demons, saying out, yelling out, he's doing that during these abortions. It's just, this guy, man.
Sometimes
I don't have any more words,
things
honestly.
go wrong. One of them almost died inside the synagogue.
These were backdoor medical treatments that we were going through. It could have killed us.
I saw how they suffered. I saw how they suffered. There were times I would go to the penthouse.
So sad.
I will be looking over to the main road. I'll be crying. I was crying. I was crying for them.
Sometimes you'd find yourself singing on stage at church, and people will think you're crying because the Holy Spirit is there, but in actual fact, you're dead inside.
Sad.
The first time I met him, it looked helpful. It looked loving. Not knowing that behind that was a sadist, a psychopath. And I wanted to be connected to God. That's why I stayed there. That's why I keep trying my very best.
The God I was introduced to is evil. He's diabolic because this is the same God that would sleep with us. This is the same God that would beat us up. This is the same God that would manipulate us. You have no idea of what I went through.
Sad, man. Oh, Lord, help. Help these people, Lord.
Every time I was beaten up, every time I was humiliated, it just reminded me that there was something wrong with that system.
So she ends up being the only one that will confront him. You guys can watch all this in the full documentary.
Saying, you are having an affair with all these women here.
So she confronts him.
Said it plainly to him.
Disciples dragged me out to the office. I was put in a room totally isolated from the rest of the church.
He would lock her up in a room for
Lock
months.
her up for months,
I'm
his
not
own
telling you
biological
weeks,
daughter.
Months.
I wonder how I lived through that time because...
So she's getting tortured, beat with chains, with whips, and she's bold enough to confront him. And then here's kind of like the end of part 3, the very end of the documentary.
Horror to another horror.
Yeah, I'll just tell you my notes on part 3. Daughter dies in building collapse, silencing people with money. 100 people die in a collapse. He doesn't care about the bodies. It continues raping girls. Other victims are getting raped. Girls report to the police, but the police do nothing because obviously he's paying the police off. He's cursing people to die, fake miracles. One of his right-hand guys says not a single legitimate miracle happened. He never loved or cared for people. All the people that he raped continue to get abortions. Again, the girls report to the police. People say what's happening to them. The police ignore them. And they ultimately say he never loved or cared for people. And here's the ending.
People who were repeatedly raped. People who'd had abortions. Some Nigerian, some Ghanaian, some South African, some Dutch, some from the UK, like some from the States. They're all coming back and saying, Ray, didn't you know? You know, you must have known. I'm like, I didn't know. Like, why am I going to stay there if I know this is happening to all these people? And it was just, it was horrifying. You've got this man who positioned himself as a father with many children and went on to rape, molest, and abuse all these people who held that bond sacred and called him daddy. How is somebody like that permitted to walk free?
Days after the former disciples gave their first interview to the BBC, TB Joshua died. Now, I'm just going to tell you something. I doubted whether I was going to say something about this or not. I don't care. I'm going to say it. In 2021, when I heard that he died, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know much about TB Joshua at all. I had not watched his videos. I didn't know who he was, anything about him other than a few people I knew had connections to him. And when he died after a service, I think of a heart attack, I had this weird thought that God killed him. That's going to sound weird. I had this weird thought that God killed him. I didn't know any of this. And now watching all this, I'm convinced that it was God that killed him. I mean, yeah, God killed people in the New Testament for doing way less bad than this guy, what he did. And I'm just, yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, TB Joshua, has died. He was 57 years old.
This is a big shock to millions of people around the world, and of course, many people in Nigeria who were directly following TB Joshua.
There was no indication that the preacher was ill before his death that has shocked.
This is 2 days after they filmed these interviews.
He was a god, like you never thought he would die. Gosh, that is why people went crazy.
I don't know what to do. He just leave us like this.
I cried when he died. I cried for an apology that I will never receive.
Wow.
The Nigerian Senate has held a minute silence. The lawmakers eulogized Prophet TB Joshua, saying he epitomized.
He is probably one of the greatest con men to ever exist. To con
one of the greatest cult leaders to ever exist.
Many millions of people into believing that you are holy.
Yeah, he convinced all those people he was living holy and righteous before God, when in reality he was torturing people behind the scenes, his own children.
He goes into glory, where there's no more conflict, where there's no more strife.
The bad guy won, and very powerful men propped him up. He had to have his enablers in the police service, in the government, different politicians in different countries. Nothing could bring him down.
Corruption. What do you even say about this type of documentary? Makes my head spin, makes me sick, makes me want to cry, makes me want to throw up, makes me mad, makes me sad. Just, man, makes me so frustrated that people are to this day defending him and his actions. And I don't care, man. It's just wrong. It's vile, it's dark, it's satanic, it's everything anti-God and anti what the Bible stands for. This man was a cult leader. He was a modern day Jim Jones. He was a cult leader. He abused, he manipulated, he raped, he killed babies. He was a pedophile. He was vile, and he perverted the gospel and made a mockery of God. Had his own ambitions, his own plan, and ultimately became extremely rich doing it. So, yeah, I debated making this video. It's an hour and 15 minutes. I didn't even get into part 3. I'm not even going to cover part 3 because, to be honest, I just can't. I can't be bothered. It's just, we've seen enough. We've seen more than enough to say that this guy was absolutely a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I'm interested to hear what you guys think down below. Honestly, don't waste your time being like, brother, he's innocent, he's a man of God. Don't put that in my comment section. Don't put that in my comment section. I don't want to see that. This man was a con artist, and I believe these witnesses. And again, I know people personally that testify to many of these things being true. So, yeah, I don't know. Where do you go from here? God's exposing God's bringing exposure. We've seen it happening all through 2024. Men of God are being exposed, and I'm praying God continues to do it. The Bible says anything done in darkness will come to light, and this just absolutely sickens me. It was a 3-hour documentary. I covered my hour and 15 minutes. There's much more to see, much more to talk about. I just don't want to talk more about it. I never make videos like this. I probably have one video like this on my channel of another African pastor that's doing witchcraft on people. And yeah, I'm tempted to say names. I'm tempted to mention and call people out by names that are defending this guy and are validating him continually and are doing practices that he did and does. But I won't say names. I won't give him the satisfaction or gratification. And I have zero desire to start drama with people. But yeah, I don't know, guys. 2024, I'm tired of staying quiet about stuff. I'm tired of being like, oh, I don't want to be a heresy hunter. I don't want to call people out. I'm tired of it. Mark my words, this year, names will be mentioned on this channel. I will call out some of this foolishness and stuff that I know about that people are doing, and I won't be silent, but I don't care. I don't care anymore. Love to hear your thoughts down below. I am not monetizing this video. I'm keeping all ads and monetization off this video. I don't even know if I'll get a copyright for showing so much stuff, but I'll make sure I link all 3 parts down below so you can come up with your own conclusion, and let me know your thoughts down below. We'll see you guys in the next video.